Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
I will admit it's worse than even I expected, but I did warn y'all. I did. You can run the tape. In Donald Trump's mind, the military does not exist to serve the Constitution or the American people. Like everything else, he thinks the military exists to do his bidding. And he has said that if he's elected, he'll use the military to go after, quote, the enemy within, which he seems to define as anybody who criticizes him. Trump's other big idea is to slap a tariff on everything from food to TVs. Now, almost every economist who has looked at this idea says that won't lower prices, that makes prices higher. Donald Trump's former chief of staff said that Trump told him he wanted his generals to be like Hitler's generals. Now, in politics, a good rule of thumb is don't say you want to do anything like Hitler. But it gives you a window into how Donald Trump thinks. Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them, between the quote-unquote real Americans who support him and the outsiders who don't. Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than a means to his ends. He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help him. Now, if you challenge Trump on his concepts, he will fall back on one answer. This is blanket answer for everything. Blame immigrants. He wants you to believe that if you let him round up whoever he wants, ship them all out, put together these big detention camps, your problems will be solved. Bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
Believe me, if Donald Trump is president again, at some point or another, that ugliness will touch all of our lives. And it will not matter what you look like, how you worship, who you love, or how you vote. If you don't make 6 or 8 or 12 figures, if you're not famous, if you criticize or disagree with him in any way, if he doesn't view you as his equal or relevant to his ambitions, I promise you, he will not think about you when he gets into the Oval Office.
This is wild. The Economist, the magazine, just declared Donald Trump the biggest threat to not only America in 2024, but the entire world. Yes, that's right. The Economist just said that Donald Trump is the biggest threat to the entire world in 2024, and they are right. The Economist is not a left-leaning paper. They're not a right-leaning paper. They're very down the middle. And here's the cover. It's The World Ahead 2024, our 90-page guide to the coming year, and as you can see, Trump's face is on the globe. And this is one of the best quotes from their writing. They say, quote, "A second Trump term would be a watershed in a way the first was not. Victory would confirm his most destructive instincts about power. His plans would encounter less resistance. And because America will have voted him in while knowing the worst, its moral authority would decline. The election will be decided by tens of thousands of voters in just a handful of states. In 2024, the fate of the world will depend on their ballots." And again, The Economist is 100% right. This is spot on. Now, The Economist is a very well-known and very respected publication, so we have to listen to this. And people have to start waking up to the danger that Donald Trump presents to not only this country, but the entire world. If Donald Trump gets elected again, America will be unrecognizable. Our day-to-day lives will absolutely be impacted. Donald Trump will go after people he doesn't like and groups that need protection. There is no point in debating the little things you disagree with with President Biden on. You may not love Biden, but the difference is Biden, a guy who will preserve American democracy and fight for the people, or Donald Trump, the biggest threat to the world in 2024.
If you're voting for Trump because of the economy, you need to watch this first. There's a lot of misinformation out there about what he did, what he wants to do, and how it's all going to affect us. So I'm going to quickly break it all down so you know the truth before you vote. First is taxes. If you're voting for Trump because you want his tax plan, you already have it. The tax plan we're in right now is Donald Trump's tax plan. It's called the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. It was passed in 2017 and enacted in 2018. And it's set to expire in 2025, which means it's currently our tax plan. And Trump is essentially running on the fact that he would just extend these taxes beyond their expiration date, which means that your taxes now would be your taxes in 2025. Now let's talk about domestic oil production. If you're voting for Trump because you want to produce more domestic oil, we already do. This is the chart of domestic oil production, and if you look to the far right, that's Joe Biden producing more domestic oil today than Donald Trump ever did. Now let's talk about the national debt. If you're voting for Trump because you think he would be better for the national debt, you would be wrong. Joe Biden increased the national debt by 16%, while Donald Trump increased it by 33%. And if you think that's because of COVID, that would be wrong too. Just look at non-COVID spending. Donald Trump's over 10 years would be $4.8 trillion, whereas Joe Biden's was $2.2 trillion. As you can see, in both COVID and non-COVID spending, Trump was 2 times worse than Joe Biden. And last is cost of living. If you're voting for Trump because you think cost of living is going to go down, that's not true either. Trump wants to put a 10% tariff on all products imported to the U.S., which would cost your family between $1,700 and $2,350.
Tell y'all a secret and we keep it between us. This big, beautiful bill that just passed the House of Representatives, which I like to call the big sloppy Joe mess, is going to impact the very Americans who voted for Donald Trump the most in last year's election. Your white, uneducated male voters and your white, uneducated female voters. That very voting bloc, that demographic group, is the highest recipients of government aid. Medicaid, SNAP benefits, food stamps, you name it, government housing. They are the highest recipients of these programs. And this bill is doing everything in its power to strip the very people who voted for Donald Trump of those benefits. Not African Americans, not Latino Americans, and not even your Asian Americans. Those Americans. We tried to put y'all on game last year about what the real deal was, but you guys couldn't get past your own prejudice and vote for Kamala Harris, a black Asian American woman to be president of the United States of America. And so now you guys are left in a far worse position than what you started off in. I hope you guys are happy.
All right, so a psychic went on Fox News to predict Trump's 2024, and you guys gotta see this.
Let's do just one card. We like that one.
What is that?
I mean, I do recognize that I'm at Fox TV. I have a sense of loss. But it's very specific. No, let me move on.
Every single time that people offer an opportunity for Donald Trump to say something different than the truth that he actually says, which is, I'm going to be a dictator. This is my campaign of retribution. I alone can fix this, right? Donald Trump, everything that he has said on his campaign trails, when he was in office, he has done. And so when I hear a crowd of American citizens cheering on the idea of an American dictator, that should send alarm bells through and across this country, through everyone's body. This is not a joke. We have one opportunity to save democracy, and that is the election of 2024. We do not have an opportunity to have a protest vote. We do not have an opportunity to sit this one out, right? I understand that there are fears and anxiety and anger that people have, but the idea that Donald Trump could be the last president of the United States should send chills down everyone's spine.
Yeah, you gotta see this. Earlier today, Jen Psaki, President Biden's former press secretary, laid out what a second Trump term would look like and how bad it would be for America, and she is spot on here. Take a look at it.
The threat of a second Trump term is still very real. And the things he is saying right now are some of the most concerning things we have ever heard him say. So it's important for everyone to really start listening.
If I happen to be president and I see somebody who's doing well and beating me very badly, I say, go down and indict them, mostly what that would be, they would be out of business. They'd be out of the election.
If they're beating me, go down and indict them. Trump is forecasting that in a second term, he will wield power however he chooses, unconstrained by the rule of law. This is some truly scary, authoritarian, banana republic type stuff, and we should hear it that way. Just yesterday, he took to Truth Social to imply that Democrats, or any political opponents, frankly, are the greatest threat to America and need to be rooted out like vermin. Vermin is the word he used there. And it's not just rhetoric. Remember, the Washington Post reported just last week about specific plans Trump and his allies have drafted to put his words into action. On top of planning to launch investigations into people who dared to critique him or disagree with him during his time in office, including people who worked for him. His team has also started to map out plans to invoke the Insurrection Act on his first day in office, which basically would allow him to dispatch the military against civil demonstrations. Think about how crazy that is. Oh, and in the same Univision interview, he also defended his family separation policy at the border. And new reporting from the New York Times this weekend confirms he also has plans for sweeping raids of undocumented immigrants, mass deportations, and the creation of giant camps. He wants to restate the Muslim ban, something he also repeated this weekend. And when he was asked about it this week, about how the U.S. can stop the killing of innocent people in the Israel-Hamas war, he basically said we should just let it all play out. And yet, the hand-wringing and cocktail party speculation about an alternative to Joe Biden is continuing, will continue. Guess what? Joe Biden isn't perfect. No candidate is, by the way. But we have to understand what the alternative is here. If elected to a second term, Donald Trump would prosecute anyone he deems an enemy, unleash troops on protesters, and essentially unravel the rule of law as we know it. And this time, he plans to line his administration with people who will actually help him do it. But sure, Joe Biden is 3 years older and occasionally trips over things. Look, there's a lot to be concerned about right now when it comes to a second Trump term. The speeches are getting much more disturbing and much more unhinged, and we should all hear it that way. It's also important to talk about all of this.
That clip was certainly worth the watch, and Jen Psaki is 100% right. A second Trump term would be disastrous for this country. I mean, you saw the things he said in that interview. You saw the things that he's planning. He wants to set up mass deportations. He wants camps for immigrants. He wants to use the Department of Justice for his benefit. He wants to indict political opponents regardless of evidence being there or not. And this is in addition to the other horrible things that Donald Trump has proposed or said he's going to do. Let's be clear here. The president using the Department of Justice for his own gain and putting in people in the DOJ that will do his bidding is authoritarianism. It's fascism. It's a dictatorship. That is what authoritarian leaders do around the world. He will indict anybody, regardless of the evidence or not. See, in Donald Trump's case, he was indicted because there's evidence against him. But if Trump wins again, he'll indict anybody he wants. He'll have a loyalist as the attorney general who'll say, indict that person for me, and it'll be over. Like, folks, we don't have to wonder as to how dangerous Donald Trump will be in a second term because he's telling us. And he's talking about what he's going to do. Let's listen to him. Let's believe him when he tells us and not take the chance. Do not, under any circumstance, support Donald Trump. The guy's a lunatic.
According to a recent CBS poll, about 53% of the legal Hispanic population in the U.S. approve of mass deportations like Trump plans to do. So let's talk about a few things that we know for sure. Trump has said that he plans to build camps for illegal immigrants that will hold millions of people. He's promised to deport between 15 and 20 million illegal immigrants, but there are fewer than 12 million illegal immigrants who live in the United States. The previous Trump administration had an absolutely horrible family separation policy in which they ripped kids away from their parents, kept them basically in cages, and to make matters worse than all that, they created no system to make sure they knew who those kids belonged to, which is why we're still trying to figure out who to match these kids up with today. Also, the United States has done mass deportations of Hispanic people before in 1954 in what they called Operation, and then a Hispanic racial slur, which I don't know that I can even say on here. Just look up mass deportation 1954 and you'll see it. And when they did this before, not everyone they deported was here illegally. They deported some people that were here legally. So with all that being said, you have to ask yourself, by what criteria are they going to determine someone is illegal? Now, you know Trump wants to get this done fast, right? So do you think that they're going to go to people's places of work, go into their homes, and really do their due diligence to make sure they've looked at all the paperwork, all the identification, double-checked it, et cetera, to make sure that the people they are pulling out and deporting are actually here illegally? Because I have zero confidence in that. And the reason why I'm talking about this is I am half white, half Hispanic. I present really white though, right? Like most people don't think I'm Hispanic at all when they see me. I can only speak a little bit of Spanish. I'm far from fluent. And to be honest, I am not at all confident that I won't get swept up in this stuff. I'm not confident that my children won't get swept up in this. My wife is a white woman. And since she now has a Hispanic last name from me, I don't know that she won't get swept up in this thing. Because he's promised to deport more illegal migrants than there are. And I have no reason to believe that they're going to be careful. They already insist on calling the Haitian migrants who supposedly were eating pets illegal, even when they are here legally. And even when they're corrected on it, they still call them illegal. So, what do you think it's going to take for them to consider you illegal? Do you think it'll matter that you have an ID card, passport, birth certificate? And do you think they'll care? Because if they take you, how's anyone going to double check? They'll have your paperwork. Now, I hope I'm wrong, even though the overall plan I think is horrible. But my friends, if you don't look like you quote unquote belong here, you're in danger from this. You are. So if you want to support that policy, and if you want to vote Trump and get him into office, then I don't know. I guess I'll see you in the camps.
So construction companies in Texas are warning that Donald Trump's mass deportation plan could devastate their industry and could derail Texas's economic growth. So as you can see, Texas builders are warning that Donald Trump's mass deportation of undocumented migrants could devastate the construction industry, threaten housing and infrastructure work in one of the nation's fastest growing states. Now let's see what one of the CEOs of these big construction companies had to say about Donald Trump's plan to deport undocumented migrants. Quote, "It would devastate our industry. We wouldn't finish our highways. We wouldn't finish our schools, ... Housing would disappear. I think they'd lose half their labor," end quote. And that CEO's fear is valid. As you can see, over 500,000 immigrants work within the Texas construction industry, 60% of them being undocumented. So there you have it. A state that overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump now has industry leaders within that state sounding the alarm about how dangerous Donald Trump's plan will be for their businesses and for Texas's economy on the whole. It's not a good plan.
What tangible thing is he going to do for you to make your life better?
Yeah, that's
Can
what
you
I was
tell me
saying.
one thing?
Yeah, like we don't have to deal with the BS.
Like what?
Like there's a lot of, I'm trying to say it in a way that is politically correct.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about like the transgender issue.
Oh, you don't think transgender people should be able to use the bathroom?
I don't care, to be honest. I just don't want to have to think about it.
You know, Trump supports that too, right? He literally said that Caitlyn Jenner would be welcome to use a bathroom in Trump Tower.
Yes.
So what's the difference between Democrat and Republican on that particular
It's the
issue?
policy part of it.
Well, what do you mean? Because Trump also supports that.
No, so what Trump did is when he came in, he says that girls are girls, boys are boys. That's the end of the story.
But what the hell does that have to do with anything? What
has
kind
to
of
do-
policy is that? That's not a policy. That's a fucking tweet.
No, it wasn't a tweet. It was one of the things that he said first off the bat. And the
So
issue,
he said it. So he said a word, and that means a lot for you.
yeah, it does mean it means not a lot for me, but I think that it
So
also
nothing changed. So nothing changed by law. Nothing changed at all. But that is the tangible that you're celebrating. He
It's
fucking
not a
put out a
celebration
tweet,
issue.
and that's what you're selling. You know what? This is what I'm talking about. You know, these people sell out for a fucking tweet nowadays. Is all it takes. You want to feel happy that he put it in a tweet, and that makes you feel good about yourself? That makes you feel special?
I don't want to be put in the position that you're putting me in now.
No, that's the position you put yourself in. And now that I'm making you see how absurd what you're saying is, you want to try to shake out of that.
No, what you're saying is that you want me to actually approach things from your point of view.
I want you to just be logical. If you had a logical argument, I would be able to talk to you about this. But you're telling me right now that you voted for a man not because he would do anything to make your life better, but because he put out a tweet.
But when you say make my life better, what is it specifically that you're referring to?
Give me a policy, something to improve your life, something that you think a change in law that would make a difference. Give me a policy. You cannot give me a policy.
I'm a little bit older than that, so I don't really see a president as doing that many things. What we're voting for is generally a representation of how most of us feel at the time.
So because of that, you voted for a tweet. Energy bills are up by 26%. Healthcare premiums are up 13%. The unemployment rate is at 4.7%. You voted for that. That's what you got.
This Republican mother-in-law is finding out the hard way. Donnell Jensen's son-in-law, Curtis, was stopped at customs after a business trip. A permanent resident since his teens, he was flagged for a misdemeanor he committed at 17. He was taken directly to an ICE detention center, and for his first 36 to 48 hours, he was locked in a freezing cold ice box, a concrete floor with no bed, no blanket, and packed with detainees. He was given a single bottle of water and a frozen waffle for 2 days. When he was able to finally buy basic hygiene products from the commissary, he was shackled in the middle of the night and transferred to another facility over 4 hours away. And the ICE facility stole the items he had just bought. His new cell was covered in trash and filth, and the moldy air from the AC vents and contaminated water made him severely ill. He was denied medical care for days. He had to buy bottled water with his own money and boil it in the microwave just to make it safe. Curtis, the sole provider for his wife and 3 children, is now facing deportation. If deported, Donnell's daughter and baby granddaughter will be forced to move to Canada, which would legally separate Curtis from his 2 young sons who rely on him. Donnell calls his treatment a violation of human rights, and the due process a joke. You know, Donnell, if Kamala was president, Curtis would be at home with his wife and kids right now, right? But since you voted for the mass deportation guy, your son-in-law has to face the consequences from your own vote. The craziest thing, too, is that if you go on Facebook, they made a free Curtis group, and Curtis's own mom is defending Trump in that group, even though Trump's policies got her own son deported back to Canada.
There's been some predictions that fertilizer will go up another $100 a ton on top of losing money as it is. So it's really sad that the farming has got to the point where we're losing money to even be doing it. And then with things going on like it is, there's so much uncertainty.
We're used to dealing with markets going up and down, but when we see such a large increase in such a short span of time is what really makes it harder to deal with.
We have a lot on the line from day to day, and at nighttime sometimes it can be hard to sleep.
A lot of guys have just said, I'm done. We're going to quit. They're hanging it up. There's sales everywhere. Lots and lots of farm sales. Financially, it's causing a lot of mental health problems as well. We got to do something about it. It's just plain got to stop.
My family's farmed for 100 years. You don't want to be the one that can't keep it going, you know.
I am a Republican. I voted for this administration, but my patience is running thin.
We're here in the heart of the Mississippi Delta to talk with farmers about how the war with Iran is impacting them.
Oh, it's been awful.
The closure of the Strait of Hormuz is causing prices to skyrocket, things like diesel fuel and fertilizer.
We're buying a little bit at a time. Sometimes we know that we've only got 2 weeks of fuel. So what has happened to us is not just the impact of 1 year. We have lost customers forever. They will never come back because we're deemed an unreliable supplier.
I'm paying 60% more for diesel fuel than I would have been paying 45 days ago.
You got to have diesel for everything. You got diesel to disc, to plant, to harvest. So diesel steadily going up like this, man, it affects us bad.
You have no choice. You know, you've got to go ahead and buy it, no matter what the price is.
There's going to be a lot of people that go out of business at the end of the year, either because they have to, because farmers are tired of losing money.
Farmers have already been struggling, with rising costs and even tariffs making things even harder.
It's going to be the nail in the coffin for a number of farmers. It's just the straw that broke the camel's back.
A lot of the money that comes through the economy is just shuffled from the government back to, these big corporations, and just kind of, your farmer's a middleman these days. Really are.
It just seems like the farmers' margins were already slim, and they just keep getting slimmer and slimmer.
We can't control diesel, we can't control, wars, we can't control anything. All we can control is once we put that seed in the ground, that's all we are called to do, right? And the rest of it is up to the good Lord.
Now, I've supported Mr. Trump this entire way. I was a big supporter of his, but I do not agree with this, and I'm not happy about this at all.
I did not vote for this administration. We're just hoping that the administration can right some of the wrongs that it's created for farmers with tariffs and mainly what this war has inflicted on us.
A lot of people that did vote for this administration say it'll come around, but my question sometimes is, will you be in business when it does?
If President Trump were standing here in this field right now, what would you say?
I'd ask him to stick a sock in his mouth and not say anything for a while.
Get these fuel prices down. Get them down.
There's an old African proverb that says, when elephants fight, it's the ants that get crushed. The ants are getting crushed.
On war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Welcome to another episode of FAFO, where I bring you stories of MAGA voters that have entered the find out phase of their vote. Ken posted the following underneath Rump's Facebook page, where he wrote, "Dear Mr. President, I want you to know that you will always have all of my support. I agree that the Middle East has been in a turmoil for over 47 years, and that needed to be shut down. The problem I have now is that, yes, I would rather Iran not have a nuclear weapon, but the people of America are paying enormous gas prices, which you said when you were running for president, that would be down under $2 a gallon. Now they are just like Obama and Biden regimes all over again at $4 a gallon. Please, Mr. President, drop these high prices so the people can gain trust in you again. Thank you, sir." And a person named David responded to Ken's post by writing, "It's really special that Ken thinks this is an official page that the president actually reads." Ken responds to David by saying, "I don't think that, but I like to get the word out that I do support this president. It wasn't meant to be directly to the president. If I want to get in touch with the president, I will just call the White House." Derek posted the following on his Facebook, "All you hear is a ceasefire extension and nuclear talks. What about lowering these damn gas prices and diesel prices for all of us working class people that voted for you, and leave that mess over there alone, folks? Can't take much more of this high cost of running a business." To which my good friend the Leopard posted and responded by saying, "When Rump bankrupts your business, there will be plenty of jobs working in the fields picking crops or in the barns milking the cows." Corey posted the following on his Facebook, "Someone asked my husband if I was liberal. Bro, I back-to-back voted for Rump. I'm very conservative, but I will not sit back and pretended this administration under the Adelson support is what I voted for. As a Christian, what's going on right now is disgusting. We are the problem. Us and our greatest allies. Stop booming the Middle East and stop forcing Erica Kirk down our throats. So over it." Now, to Corey, what I do have to say to you is that you should be careful when mentioning her name, because she's probably going to pop up behind you looking like this.
We tried to warn you. I've said that so many times. I know. But I wanted to put out like an actual video showing how much we reminded people of what was to come with voting Trump into office again. And I know this probably is going to be falling on deaf ears for the people that need to hear it, but I figured, let's have a little flashback to the election in 2024. The majority of these clips were from the election cycle, except for the FAFO ones, of course, towards the end. It's so crazy how so many people from so many outlets, economists, former Trump staffers, experts from different sectors, all warned us about where we would be if this man was voted in. And we knew that they would be. And look at where we are now. Most people are struggling to even put food on the table. Some people can't even put gas. I've seen the other day when I went to put gas, somebody put like $1.75 worth of gas in their tank. People are struggling, and A lot of these people are regretting their vote. They will not tell you. They will refuse to condemn him or place any blame on him, but they are feeling the aftermath of their vote. And I showed you guys that through all of my FIFO videos. I've said this in previous videos on my channel. A lot of these people will pretend everything's fine. Oh, they're struggling in just this one aspect, like the farmers. Oh, I've lost customers for life, blah blah blah. But oh, I love everything else he's doing. So that pretty much reinforces the fact that y'all knew that this would not be good for business or for your livelihoods, but you liked everything he stood against with the Democrats. That's really all this ever is, because I'm steadily and constantly asking people who are Trump supporters, Republicans, what have you, to just tell me what makes the Republican Party better just in general. And every single person will always defend Republicans and Trump by saying what Democrats are doing badly or what they haven't done. Never can give any sort of case on what they have successfully done just within history or within recent times. Nothing. It's always Obama, Biden, Kamala, the Democratic Party, this senator, this representative. It's always the Democrats who are doing everything wrong, which makes them feel like they have to vote for Trump. What sense does that make? You are so strong in your support for him, but you can't come up with a reason that you voted for him and that you support him? Yeah, because we know that there's nothing you could say, because there is no statistic out there that you could probably prove in which Trump in this year and a half has made the country better, has made anyone's lives better, unless you're a billionaire. It's just really crazy to think about the fact that so many people try to warn, whether it be just people on the news, just regular creators here on TikTok or any platform on social media. We try to give the heads up on like what things would be like. So many warnings everywhere. But yet look at what we had to end up with, and look at what we're going through. And it didn't even take long. I've said this a million times as well, but it didn't even take a full year for the BS to start. He didn't even take office yet before the BS started. And that's how you knew this was going to be like a downward spiral from him taking office. In a way, this is why I created this channel, is because I wanted to document like how badly this would go. I think I've been able to prove a lot so far in this almost year and a half. In a couple weeks, it's going to make 18 months this man has been in office, and still has not improved anything since he's been here. No one can ever explain to me or anybody. I watch all of the streamers. I just watch so many different political creators. Whenever you bring upon like a question of, hey, what has Trump done to make the country better? Why do you still support him? It's never anything could be explained. The only thing they'll say sometimes is about the deportations, as I've always been saying as well. And it's like he's doing it in a really harsh way, a really inhumane way. But he's not even doing as well of a job as other presidents who were much more effective at getting the immigrants who are criminals deported, which that should be the goal to begin with. But no, Trump wants to make it to where anyone who, quote unquote, their words, looks like a criminal or looks like an immigrant is subject to being detained. And it goes to show also for that one FIFO story where the Canadian guy got detained and had to go through inhumane conditions, and his loved ones still support Trump, which is unbelievable to me. Even their own family members and loved ones being impacted will not stop them from condemning anything that he does, or at least placing a little bit of accountability on them, because they refuse to accept the fact that he's no good, but they love the fact that he's bringing forth more racism and misogyny and homophobia, everything. And where is that getting them? Racism is very expensive. Look where it's getting them. A lot of them are like, oh, I support everything that you're doing, but you have got to please lower these gas prices. That's the bottom line for them, is gas prices. If that were cheap and if groceries were cheap, they would let this man get away with murder, probably right in front of them, and they would not bat an eye. I'm going to continue documenting this. I may do another one of these videos. I had so many more clips of people warning of what he would be doing, but it was just way too long. But yeah, as we see, we were right, as we already all know. And Kamala told them, Obama told them, Michelle told them, everyone told them. But they just did not want to listen, because what they want to spite the Democrats. They will lose it all to spite Democrats. They will have their foot in the grave. But as long as a Democrat or an immigrant or a transgender or gay person, a black person, a brown person is struggling, oh, they'll be happy about it. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think about this video. If you made it this far, you know I appreciate you as always. And I hope you would consider liking and subscribing, because that would really help out to grow the channel and would be much appreciated as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Bye. See you later.